Tonight, sweeping changes to the justice system as MSPs vote to scrap the historic not proven verdicts. It comes after a long campaign from relatives of murder victims who never saw a conviction.
It's a contradiction to justice. Either you're guilty or you're not guilty. It seems to work everywhere in the world. I mean, why do we have a separate verdict that's going to say maybe?
Also on tonight's programme, 4 of Scotland's most high-profile Gangland figures have been arrested in Dubai in a dawn raid. As Donald Trump enjoys his second state visit to the UK, First Minister John Swinney heads down to join him at a banquet held by the King and Queen.
Coming up in tonight's sport, ecstasy and agony on the track as Jake Whiteman clinches silver in the World 1500 metres final, while Josh Kerr suffers an injury nightmare.
And how about a Ceilidh on Strictly Come Dancing? Ross King tells us his plans for the show. Hello, I'm Laura Miller. This is Reporting Scotland. A landmark bill which will see a huge shake-up of the legal system has been passed by the Scottish Parliament. The biggest headline is the removal of the centuries-old not proven verdict in Scots law. There will now be just 2 verdicts, guilty or not guilty. It also raises the bar for a guilty verdict in a criminal trial. Currently, it is a simple majority of jurors that's needed. That becomes a 2/3 majority. The bill also paves the way for the creation of a special sexual offences court. Our Home Affairs correspondent David Cowan reports.
The motion is therefore agreed and the Victims, Witnesses and Justice Reform Scotland Bill is passed.
This was the moment centuries-old traditions of Scots law were consigned to the history books. By 71 votes to 46, MSPs had backed a landmark bill, bringing in a raft of reforms. Amanda Duffy's family have campaigned for the abolition of not proven for more than 30 years. That was the verdict in the trial of the man accused of her murder.
I mean, this isn't for me. This is for Amanda. This is for all the people who believe they haven't received the proper judgment. Not going to start cheering or punching the air or anything, but believe me, we're delighted it's finally been abolished.
In 2015, a man was cleared of raping this woman with a not proven verdict. She sued him in the civil courts and won, and campaigned for change.
To know that this is now going to be removed and that no one else, no other families and the survivors are going to be faced with a confusion and misunderstanding of this not proven verdict, to me, I think that means everything.
This was a behemoth of a bill, bringing in wide-ranging changes. The government spelled out the ambition.
A justice system where victims are treated with compassion and their voices heard, where processes are modern, fair and transparent, and the rights of the accused continue to be protected.
The Lib Dems and Greens backed the legislation.
And I say to those in the gallery here today who live and breathe that trauma every day, it is to them we owe the most credit.
Change is not just desirable, it is imperative.
The Tories and Labour voted against, calling it a missed opportunity, lacking proper scrutiny.
3 of the 4 key features of our criminal trial system will be altered, largely without evidence, largely without precedent, and against expert advice.
We remain concerned that this bill may have unintended consequences and disappoint victims.
To compensate for abolishing not proven, Parliament has just backed another historic reform. At present, to get a guilty verdict, the votes of 8 out of 15 jurors are required, a simple majority. That's going to be increased to 10 out of 15, a 2/3 majority.
There's lots of good things in this bill. What I do think is that it might reduce the trauma for rape survivors of the justice process, but it might actually make it harder to get a conviction.
Our concern is that the changes that are proposed by government don't go far enough and are essentially an exercise in meeting in the middle rather than designing a system that works.
But Victim Support Scotland supports the Victims' Bill.
We all know about the poor experiences people have had, and this legislation represents a massive step forward.
Scotland's third verdict has been controversial for decades.
On the third charge of murder on the 22nd or 23rd March, not proven.
By next summer, it will be no more than the stuff of historical dramas. David Cowan, Reporting Scotland, Edinburgh.
4 of Scotland's most high-profile Gangland figures have been arrested in Dubai. It's understood Stephen Lyons, Ross McGill, Stephen Jameson and Stephen Larwood were taken into custody yesterday. Police Scotland believe all 4 are linked to criminality ranging from drug importation to a feud between rival criminal gangs in Glasgow and Edinburgh. Maura Kinneborough reports.
Fire attacks and gun incidents in Edinburgh and the Lothians this spring, which quickly spread across the central belt to Greater Glasgow. Many homes and businesses were targeted, several people were injured and properties damaged. Videos of some incidents were posted online alongside warnings naming families linked to organised crime. The police Operation Portaledge, set up in response to the violence, has been investigating every incident. There have been 57 arrests in Scotland so far. In Dubai, 4 men were arrested yesterday morning. Police believe all are linked to the dispute between rival criminal gangs in Glasgow and Edinburgh. Stephen Lyons is head of the Lyons crime group, which has been involved in a feud with the rival Daniel clan for over 20 years. In May, his brother Eddie Lyons on the left and Ross Monaghan were shot dead in a beachfront bar on the Costa del Sol in Spain. A man from Liverpool's been accused of murder, an extradition hearing scheduled for later this year. Also detained in Dubai is Ross McGill, who first became known to police for his activities as a senior member of Rangers Ultras the Union Bears. Stephen Jameson and Stephen Larwood were also arrested yesterday. The UAE authorities could press charges there. Another option is extradition to Scotland. Maura Kinneborough, reporting Scotland.
Now, they've met a number of times in recent months, both here and across the pond. And tonight, the First Minister is attending the state banquet at Windsor Castle as part of Donald Trump's second state visit to the UK. That's despite John Swinney having previously suggested the occasion shouldn't be happening. Today, he said it was important to have a constructive relationship with the US President as he tries to push for a better deal for Scotch whisky. Here's our political editor, Glenn Campbell.
An extravagant royal welcome for President Trump on his second state visit to the UK. A world away from Windsor on the Western Isles, where the President's mother was born, this distillery's shed jobs and worrying about the impact of the 10% tariff or tax on their spirits entering the US market.
It's potentially going to slow down our growth in the United States, which is a key market for us, as it is for the industry. Not a nice thing to have to deal with, but you have to deal with it.
The First Minister was in Washington last week with UK government support, making the case that more favourable trade terms for Scotch whisky going to America could also boost the market for US bourbon casks in Scotland. Extraordinary access for a First Minister with very different politics to the President.
There are obviously going to be issues of disagreement, but fundamentally we have a need to build a constructive relationship with the United States. We have economic connections, we have social connections, but we also have security connections.
When he left Edinburgh for Windsor to attend the state dinner, Greens were urging him to boycott, a position already taken by the Liberal Democrat leader.
By actually saying difficult decision that I'm not going, I've actually put a highlight on one of the biggest issues which worries many people across Scotland, across the whole United Kingdom, and that is Gaza.
A now deleted social media post has since emerged from the SNP MP Chris Law, arguing that sitting at tonight's banquet dinner is conceding that it's acceptable to support genocide in Gaza. That's a war crime Israel denies. These anti-Trump protesters don't think the US president deserves a state visit. 6 months ago, John Swinney wanted it stopped, but he's changed his mind, apparently believing that trying to do business is better than boycott. So as the King hosts President Trump for dinner at Windsor, John Swinney is among his guests.
Well, Glenn's at Westminster for us tonight. Glenn, busy day then. What's expected to happen tonight?
Well, the protests continue just along the road, not that President Trump will hear them. We've heard nothing more from the MP Chris Law. He's not been answering calls. The Conservatives accuse him of student politics. I'm not sure that the SNP leadership will be very happy with him tonight either. At the banquet, there will be speeches from the King and from President Trump. and I'm told that there may be a Scottish twist to the music and to the after-dinner drinks. Not that that tells us whether or not there might be some further concessions on trade tomorrow when this visit moves from the pageantry and soft power to the harder politics of discussions between President Trump and the Prime Minister at his country retreat Chequers in Buckinghamshire.
Okay, Glenn at Westminster, thank you. And Glenn and I have been chatting more about this over on Scotcast, the BBC Scotland's podcast, which you can find on BBC Sounds. Police investigating the discovery of human remains on the banks of Loch Lomond say they have been identified as missing man Graham Wright. The 38-year-old was last seen almost a month ago. The remains were discovered on Saturday. His death is currently being treated as unexplained. Hope Webb reports.
It was here near Firkin Point that police were called to last Saturday the 13th after a member of the public made the disturbing discovery. And today officers have confirmed the human remains found belong to 38-year-old Graham Wright. He was last seen around noon on the 20th of August on Glasgow's Cumberland Street. So now detectives are trying to establish how his remains could have ended up nearly 30 miles away.
Our thoughts are with Graham's family and friends at this extremely difficult time, and they are being supported by specialist officers. It's absolutely vital we get answers for them, and extensive inquiries are ongoing to establish how his remains came to be on the shore of Loch Lomond.
The conditions here today are not ideal, but it's still a popular area for dog walkers and visitors gathering here to take in the sights of Loch Lomond. And these are the types of people that police are now directly appealing to. They want anyone who may have been in this area from the 1st to the 13th of September to get in touch with any potential information or dashcam footage that could help the investigation. An online portal has now also been launched which allows members of the public to send information directly to detectives. Police say a significant amount of resources have been dedicated to the case and a large police presence will remain in the area as inquiries continue. Hope Webb, reporting Scotland.
A man who murdered his wife in a knife attack has been told he faces a life sentence. Mompati Dodo Isaacs claimed he believed Keo Shapili Nasi Isaacs had cheated on him as he repeatedly stabbed her at their home in North Berwick in East Lothian on New Year's Day last year. Isaacs had denied murder, but a jury at the High Court in Edinburgh found him guilty. The NHS is vaccinating to the bare minimum. That's according to the charity Age Scotland. It comes after the decision to only give COVID boosters to the over 75s. Last year, the JAG was given to those over 65, but raising the age has prompted fears from the charity that it could lead to increased pressure on hospitals. Everyone over 65 will still get their flu JAGs as normal. Joanne Macaulay reports.
These people at a vaccination centre in Edinburgh are among the first to get their flu jabs this autumn. But when it comes to COVID, the qualifying age has been raised from 65 to 75, and that's causing some concern.
Can't really understand the rationale behind the fact that if you're going for a flu vaccination, you wouldn't be able to just have a COVID vaccination at the same time. That feels confusing. I also think we're really worried and concerned about what is going to happen to the NHS through the winter time.
These people at an art club in Edinburgh fall within the 65 to 74 age range, which is affected by the change.
I've had COVID and I wasn't badly impacted. So I think over the piece, I'm reasonably relaxed about the change in policy.
I would rather it was kept and it wasn't altered. I've had the vaccine every time, it's important.
I was unaware of the policy change. I am 71 and I'm not particularly happy with it.
But the Scottish Government says the guidance on who gets the JAGs is based on medical advice.
Because our population immunity is now much higher, because most of us have either had COVID and had the vaccine, or, so it's a different situation. And those people now who are really at risk of severe COVID and death from COVID is actually, thankfully, much smaller.
People can go privately for their winter vaccinations if they don't qualify for the flu or COVID JAGs. but Public Health Scotland is encouraging everyone who is invited to come forward. Joanne Macaulay reporting Scotland, Edinburgh.
Now, imagine you've noticed the cost of your food shop just seems to be going up and up. Well, the official figures bear that out because food inflation, the pace at which prices are increasing, has risen for a fifth month in a row, despite the overall rate of inflation staying at 3.8%. Suzanne Allen has been gauging reaction of shoppers in Glasgow.
When most of us hit the shops, we're mindful of what we're spending. Today's figures were not as high as some expected, but they're a long way off the 2% Bank of England target.
Inflation is prices going up, and the overall figure has stayed the same as last month. But if you're feeling it in your weekly shop, that's not surprising, because food price inflation has gone up 5.1%.
Items like cereal and pasta fell, but everyday essentials have seen some big price rises in the past year. The price of butter has gone up nearly 19%, milk 12.6%, and beef nearly 25%. Shoppers here in Glasgow are feeling it.
I don't really buy a lot of meat at all. If possible, maybe chicken, more fish, but again, that's extortionate as well.
They're making stuff smaller and adding more money into the price.
Like, food shop used to cost me, like, when I started uni a couple of years ago, about like between 15 and 20 quid, and now I'm spending easily 30, 35.
I feel like you're coming out having spent a lot more now.
Another factor is the price of food production. Costs for farmers have shot up.
So whether that is feed prices, which will also continue to rise with the drought impacting feed supply in the UK, as well as things like national insurance has gone up enormously as well, which all have to be passed on to the consumers because farming already has a very tight margin.
Economists say food bills have been rising because supermarkets are passing on government increases in the minimum wage and national insurance contributions. But Chancellor Rachel Reeves says she's determined to bring costs down. Suzanne Allen, reporting Scotland.
OK, let's get tonight's sport now with Sheila. And I positively gasped, maybe even shrieked when I was watching the athletics earlier.
Yeah, there was lots of screaming at the TV. All eyes were on Tokyo this afternoon. Let's hear all about it. Hello there. Jake Whiteman says winning 1500 metres silver at the World Championships in Tokyo means more to him than the gold he won in the same event 3 years ago. The Scot missed out on first place by the smallest of margins, while compatriot Neil Gourley finished 10th. But it was an agonising night for one of the big favourites, Josh Kerr. Paul Barnes reports.
Josh Kerr.
One defending champion, one former champion, and a third Scot aiming for his first world outdoor medal.
But who is going to make it quick?
Josh Kerr, one of the hot favourites, immediately looked for the curve as the pack of 14 jostled into their stride. But just after reaching the halfway point, a brutal reminder of sport's ability to destroy dreams.
Stood on, Josh Kerr's limping. Josh Kerr could be out of this race.
Kerr pulled up, and despite bravely hobbling on, his hopes were over. Step up Jake Whiteman, an unfancied winner of this event in Eugene 3 years ago, arriving in Tokyo after a torturous run of injuries.
Jake Whiteman of Great Britain strikes for the front.
Gliding through the field, he hit the front, but could he hold on? 50 to go, then 40, then 30.
Jake's getting tired. Come on, Jake! Come on, Jake! No!
Pipped to gold by Portugal's Isaac Nader, just 200ths of a second in it.
I felt like I still had something like this in me. All I knew today was I was going to run to try and win, and whether that got me the win, whether that got me second, third, however high up, I'll just be happy that I walked away with it. But when you come that close to winning it, you can't help but be a little bit, oh, what if I'd have tried a bit more, but I left everything out there.
A night to savour for Whiteman and his dad, the stadium announcer, who described the action to a packed crowd.
I mean, my last message to him was, you never know when these opportunities are going to come around again. You know, we had 3 Scots in there. It happened 6 years ago. It may never happen again. You've got to absolutely make hay while the sun shines.
And that he did, a second world medal, completing a hat-trick of successive podium finishes for Scotland and Team GB.
We maybe don't appreciate it at the time because we are in this sort of golden generation just now, particularly in middle distance and endurance events, and you kind of get used to seeing, you know, British athletes on the podium that you can sometimes take for granted actually how big a deal this is, how big an accomplishment this is, and you know, particularly to have, like I say, back-to-back world champions, and now have Jake again on that podium.
At 27, Kerr's time will come again, while Whiteman will surely dream of the Olympic start line in Los Angeles in 3 years' time. Paul Barnes, reporting Scotland.
Yeah, what a race there for Jake Whiteman. Well, I spoke to him just after he got off the track in Tokyo and asked him how it feels to have 2 world medals.
Yeah, it's a very big reward for me for what's been a really rough few years, not going to the champs and having to sit on the sidelines. And I gave my best to try and win it, and to come away with silver is more than enough reward for me for the persistence I've had to put through these last couple of years.
Yeah, you were so close to gold, but I saw your celebrations and the smiles down there afterwards. Did it almost feel as good as when you did win gold?
I'll reflect these next couple of days, and I'll realise that this means a lot more than that gold. I've had to overcome so much more to get to this point, and I don't think anybody probably predicted me to win gold in Eugene. I don't think many people predicted me to pick up a medal potentially here before these champs. So, yeah, I'm just very grateful to be able to get back to this position where I can really give a true representation of how well I feel like I can run, because there's points where I felt like I was never going to get to show that. It just felt like the world was against me. The running gods didn't want me to get back on a start line of a champ. So to make these champs in the first place and make a final was something I felt pretty grateful for. So this is the icing on the cake, really, to pick up a medal.
What kept you going through those last couple of years? What gave you the belief you could get back on the podium?
Just that I thought I could do this. I didn't want to finish my story with not fulfilling my potential, and it was cruel, like becoming world champion and then having nothing to show the next year for it, not being able to race at all. I felt like it was really cruel. So I always hoped that I always felt like I'd be able to get back to this point and hopefully give my best account to be able to try and win another title, which I tried to do today.
And some more celebrations. You've been enjoying some cuddles around the track there. How have the celebrations been for you so far?
It'd be nice. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody afterwards. There's a lot of people waiting for me, I think. And the best thing about now is it's the last thing of the season, so my off-season starts and I can really let my hair down.
And finally, I know it's just happened, but do you start thinking forward? Do you start thinking about LA and the Olympics?
Yeah, it's a long way away. I've just got to do a year at a time, and I got to celebrate this and really soak in what I've done today is the main thing.
Enjoy. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I suspect it might be a good night out in Tokyo for the Whiteman family tonight.
Yeah, that was a lovely interview. Clearly means so much to him and everyone else as well, doesn't it? Now, Sheila, I know you're a dancer. I feel a bit underdressed here. I know you'll be looking forward to this weekend.
Yes. No sequins tonight.
How do you fancy a ceilidh, though? Because that's what he's talking
about. Right
now? Well, no. Well, after. We've got to do this first. Yeah. How do you fancy a ceilidh then? Because that might be what is brought to you on Strictly Come Dancing. The show returns to our screens on Saturday night, and showbiz presenter Ross King here is pledging to do just that. He's known for bringing us, of course, all the entertainment news from LA, and Sarah McMullen has been speaking to him about how he feels about swapping Hollywood for the dance floor.
I was incredibly excited, incredibly terrified, and also for me, I really do feel like I'm representing Scotland. So I don't want to let anyone down, but I'm loving it. I mean, it's just the silliest, most wonderful thing that I could ever get involved in. I've never done a reality show, but I've always said that if I did one, this would be the one that I'd want to do. It's been one of the most fun experiences I've had so far. I know it's going to be really, really hard. But what I want to do is, I know that I'm never going to win, but if I can be like the most improved.
How is training going then?
Training's going fairly well. I'll be honest, after day one, I was at the physio the next day. We got really thrown into it because it was very gentle in the morning. And then in the afternoon, all the pros came in. And then they said, we're going to start teaching you the opening dance sequence for the launch show. And we were like, oh yeah, great, because this has all been nice and easy. And then suddenly it was like 5, 6, 7, 8.
And is there a particular dance that you're looking forward to doing, or that you're scared of? Maybe.
I'm really looking forward to doing the slosh. I genuinely want a bit of the slosh put in for Scotland.
Please do it for us.
And then the other thing I want to put in, and weirdly enough, apparently they've never done this, is I said I would love to have some form of a ceilidh type thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously, you know, at school, that was the only time you were taught dances. So it was, you know, the Gay Gordons, the Dashing White Sergeant, you know, the Canadian barn dance, all these, the military two-step.
Yep.
But it just came back to me the other day. I will do the whole thing with the biggest smile on my face. And even if the lovely Craig rips me apart, which I'm sure he will do, you know what, I'll just take it in the chin and smile. At my point in life and at the point in my career, to be given a chance like this is just unbelievable. So hopefully I won't let anyone down. What I can say is that I will do my best. As Mum always said, that's all you can do.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
And that's Rose King speaking to Sarah McMullen there. And you can watch more of that interview over on the News at 7 on the BBC Scotland channel shortly. Chris is here. I feel like I should ask you to dance.
Too left feet, I'm afraid. Something more reliable than my footwork. The very
Not the
changeable
weather.
weather across the country today. Lovely rainbow there, but it was rather grey at times. Laura, thank you. Good evening to you. Yes, it was quite a mixed bag with a lot of cloud around and outbreaks of rain as a weather front work northwards across the country. This is the satellite and radar from earlier. You can see it lifting to the north and something drier and brighter eventually moving in towards central and southern Scotland. So a bit of sunshine to end the day for a few. Now, this evening and overnight, we have low pressure situated towards the northwest, so quite a windy spell around the northwest coast, and this waving weather front. That's going to give us a couple of headaches over the next day or so, with the northward extent of it open to doubt. But overnight tonight, gale force gusts around the northwest coast with showers or longer spells of rain. Elsewhere dry with some clear periods. Temperatures 10 to 12 Celsius. Once again blustery, certainly across the coasts and hills. To tomorrow, a very windy start around the north coast with outbreaks of rain and showers. Elsewhere dry with some sunshine. And there's that waving weather front moving into the south. It's called a waving front because it sort of wiggles around. So the northward extent of it is open to doubt, but certainly the southwest, Dumfries and Galloway, Ayrshire, Arran, Kintyre, perhaps Inverclyde, outbreaks of rain for you. Elsewhere dry with some sunshine, still blustery. The northeast, though, 19 degrees. Once again, very windy around the west and northwest coast. Gale to severe, gale force gusts here at times through the course of Thursday. And then tomorrow evening, that rain still with us, perhaps as far north as the central lowlands, but we're dragging in some very mild air from the southwest. So overnight tomorrow night, for some, temperatures holding in the mid-teens. That takes us to the end of the week. This is Friday. We've still got the cloud and the rain in the south, some showers in the north, not as windy, but a sandwich of weather, so something drier and brighter in between for many parts of the country. Once again, mid to high teens. And then to the weekend, low pressure for England and Wales, high pressure up towards Iceland. That means a cold north wind. So we'll be turning rather chilly by day and by night, feeding in a few showers. Those could be wintry on the mountaintops, but certainly turning colder. That's the forecast.
Not even going to ask you about that. Thanks, Chris. And that is reporting Scotland. The late news is at 10:30 tonight. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.